Alright, muri yeZimbabwe kusangana kwatiri kuita zvakare ipo pano pazimunyuzi update apo patinoda kupa first hand update anonga ari kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. So kana uri mutsva usabve pano usina kusubscribe, kulike nekushare. So tine mashoko matsva etiri kutambira kubva kuna X ya Wicknell Chivhayo achitaura kuti sezvo tiri kuziva kuti abuditsa mashoko mushure mekunge president Emerson Mnangagwa vaonekwa vari kuJohani Marange nezuro, sezvo tiri kuziva kuti vaMnangagwa vakepchwa nanase Wicknell Chivhayo. So njari kutaura iye anova ari X ya Wicknell Chivhayo ari kutaura iye kuti pane masecrets akasimba pakati pa sort of like Wicknell Chivhayo na president Emerson Mnangagwa. Because muri yeZimbabwe musazodherere kutoti no nyange wakasimba homwe chaiyo amukadzi haatombobvi, but so njakasvika pakutoti no izvi ndakundikana nazvo hanike azvikwanise. Tiri kuona akasvika pakuzoramba se Wicknell Chivhayo, not kuti se Wicknell Chivhayo ndiye akaramba Sonja, but Sonja ndiye akaramba se Wicknell Chivhayo. Now situation yainge iripo muri yeZimbabwe yange iri kuonekwa naSonja. So ari kutaura kuti pamadhezi ari kuteera ayo ndichabuditsa information yacho, sezvo tiri kuziva kuti Sonja nase Wicknell Chivhayo havavirirane sort of like Sonja anonga tonga sort of like ada kufixa se Wicknell Chivhayo. Ndonga muri kuona kana mune zvese zvaitika izvo kutoti ndoda 23 million yekutanga chiona vana kana kutanga chiwana access yekufamba newana kana anonga ada kuita zvinhu zvekufixa se Wicknell Chivhayo. So tiri kuona masecrets ese because vanhu vakagara 7 years se Wicknell Chivhayo naSonja. So masecrets ese anomaziva anonga ari kuitwa nanase Wicknell Chivhayo, even kana kuluta mari kwanonga ari kuita masecrets ese ari pakati pawo na president Emerson Mnangagwa. Masecrets kana paine pakatsika because tiri kuona kuti se Wicknell Chivhayo zvingangoitwa nemunhu chete anonga ari kuzviita ake sort of like impostori, but tiri kutonyasa kuziva kuti pane pakatsika muri yeZimbabwe, pane pakatsika. So tichipinda mudzimwe nhau muri yeZimbabwe tiri kuona kuti vaziyambe vataura iwo kutoti no sort of like hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro zvoda kuitwa nemaopposition or 31. Takaona Daniel Garwe futi achitaura kuti kana uchida kunge uchiratidzira musi wa31 inga vakasimba muri yeZimbabwe, unofanira kunge vakasimba because 31 haasi majokes. Ndo zviri kutaurwa navaDaniel Garwe, sezvo tinoziva kuti vaDaniel Garwe vakambopenga, havatombotyi kutombotaura kuti ningi zvazodai kana kuti ningi zvazodai, havatombotyi zvinhu zvakafanana izvozvo. Ndosaka veitotaura mazuva aya kuti 2030 pamberi ne2030 pachingotaura zvinhu zvakasiyana siyana pachikoitika zvinhu zvakasiyana siyana. So ndokutendeni kutera kwama makaita pano ngatikutsai makombodera kutera, but sada makombodera rekeze timbonzwe Victor Matemadanda.
Uku kwavari kutambira kunonyudzawo, uku kwekufunga kuti nyika inogona kudecidwa muna Chancellor Avenue yototongwa zviri nyoresa izvozvo.
Ukwana ndi Victor Matemadanda uyu muri yeZimbabwe vachiri kutonga vachiri kuZANU PF vasati assassinatwa. So tiri kuona pana pakanyorwa kunzi during November 2017 Operation Restore Legacy, General PV Philip Valerius Banda controlled the Zimbabwe National Army on the ground when General Chiwenga was in China. General PV Sibanda masterminded VP Mnangagwa, Vice President Mnangagwa escape dispatching covert operative and guide him safely on foot across the minefield Mozambique border. Tiri kuona panapa muri yeZimbabwe ndo mamiriro akaita. Tiri kuona ikozwa iri kutaura mashoko iri kutaura panapa. So ngatinzwe macomparative tina pano tidzodrekeze timboona kuti vanhu vane muono ipi mucomment section nawo yakafanana iyi muri yeZimbabwe. Tiri kuona panapa pakanyorwa kunzi when ED was fired, Chiwenga became most powerful commander from military side with direct influence and armed force after ED, who was the Minister of Defense at one stage and war veteran, so senior for them, or ethic in pakanyorwa kunzi Haikari. So Chiwenga is the commander, but Sibanda is masterminding coup. Inga noti kuti coup happened when Chiwenga was about to be arrested at airport. Muri yeZimbabwe pakanyatsotanga kucha chebwa Mnangagwa wanga watiza, but ana Chiwenga wanga kutogara vachitosimudza musoro sawa. Nawo yakaitika ana Chiwenga akatomboenda kuChina. Ubva wakadzokera mainduba pakatotanga ma1 ndo pakazoto anaunzwa anadzana the late SB Moyo pakatoenda chiwenga baichi ende ku ZBC mono dzingwa shamarari wese patangotorwa one music dzechimurerenga ipapo zvova chatotsva ndo pachakatotsva ipapo chimwe. So tikona panapa, let's see that what happening when Chiwenga goes to China. He leaves Sibanda in charge to watch the country. He informs him of anything happening even as he is away, and they make a plan and enact it when he returns at airport, then continue to arrest Mugabe. So must he have ordered it then. Tirikuona panapa muri yeZimbabwe chihuri Mugabe because akazotota chihuri endo nosunge Chiwenga chihuri ndi akazotobva pa airport akadini ndo pachakatotsva ipapo chichi chimwe ndo pachakatotsva because ana Chiwenga akazotobvako chakutotsva chichi chimwe akutosimudza musoro chichi chimwe. So tirikuona panapa pakanyorwa kunzi and then he came back to president and the rest of history about the generals. A president serves at the pleasure of the army itself. Tirikuona muri yeZimbabwe ndo mashoko
6 months ANC vakasaipulla off the city belt pachaita nyaya ende muchaona nyaya iri kuitika iyi ZANU-PF haisi kurara. It's now a direct confrontation because ANC is no longer protecting ZANU-PF. Dene veda kuva protect vati vanhu vanga vambogara vati zvoti dzokerai kumba vakuva pamabhazi kuenda kuborder chatochaya izvozvi zvamuri kuona zvakadai zvataimbotaura. Saka ega nditi angojedi namukoma Titus nhasi ngatichifarai kuti zvataita zvekubirwa zviya vangada kuba futi opposition disjointed kudai, and apart from that vangoda kuita referendum futi woiba wodzora, but izvozvi hatisina munhu pagedhi. Takuda kuchingofomawo national government yedu inonge iri caretaker kusvikawo maelections aitwa, because munangagwatara 2028 hakuna maelections. Saka isi pamwe tichamiriro 2028 according to the old constitution hatidi kuiviolate, ndo yatotedzera August 2028 Mnangagwa should go home with these MPs. Saka muZimbabwe inenge yama zvake mezvake inde ndakuda kuti tawo president vana divine kana mune mabhozi manje ndo patakuda kuchiuya kutoti pa caretaker government design your president so that you can sacrifice your blood to ZANU-PF and other people. That's what we are going to do, the rest of us. So thank you very much. Asi ndichibuda ndepekuti munhu achatiseva asi pano muchamuona achibuda panguva yatakutora general nenyaya dzemavhese aitaura asingadi kune vanhu nyangwe aitowanana chamisa yekuti akataura adikwi toda kuchiona ningwa vachibuda kana vakasabuda ko military iri kuita sei. Chamisa akabuda nevanhu military munomuprotecta here kana polisi yakurova nesi yaiwo munomirewo here nevanhu vake. Saka ndo zvatangonamatira kuti Mwari chidzorerai mweya wogamba mundima wakatawana chimbetu. Ndinotenda. Thank you.
Hanzi chidzorerai mweya wegamba mundima. Yeah, pakaipa. No, thank you so much, my brother, for that. Some profound words there that you've just said. But no, I appreciate that. Let me move on to Lou.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Luckily, my turn comes as half time is hitting, so I can focus on the discussion a bit. So, Mr. Speaker, I've put for the audience a nice poem from Tupac, regarding it says, "In the event of my demise." That's a nice poem. I've always known. I think I've heard that poem for 25 years. So I think my perspective is gonna trend towards. There was a lady Penelope who came in here as well. I am a big fan to say, as much as it sounds like it's a formal, but you guys, in my mind, I'm like, you are dealing with a terrorist. That's how I would just see it. I'm like, no, this government are terrorists and everything. And I would lean towards violence to say, okay, no, we're going to wage violence. I've seen violence deliver results. And I think most of us have seen violence, how much it can be a resistance. We can all be academics. we can't all be academics about matters like this, as much as I would still promote that. You fight it on all fronts. You fight it academically, but some of us, we go and sacrifice ourselves and say, we'll go the violent way and put pressure, because it's all about applied pressure. We've seen the Taliban waging war for 20 years against big power. We've seen Gaza sacrifice itself to fight for what it believes in. We've seen Iran, we've seen a lot of stories where violence does prevail. I know no one likes violence. It's a very unfortunate situation, but there's one of the things we grow up knowing. You get to learn whilst you are a small boy, like around 12, 13 years, that, oh, by the way, you're part of prescription. And you're like, what's prescription? They're like, oh, no, if there were to be war, they will take you to go and fight. So in my mind, it gets programmed in your mind that eventually the females in your house don't get to die before you die. So as a guy, mentally, you would always be prepared that, oh, I die first before the others die. And I think we grow up in those systems because they prepare us for things like this. You guys will know, if I talk from a guy's perspective, to say, as a guy, as growing up, you have so many scenarios whereby you're like, yo, Eshengafa today, I almost died. You get to experience near-death situations. Either you are fighting or whatever happened. But also you get to realize that, oh no, you're dying. Actually, it's not a person, it's not someone's choice. It will happen when it does happen. So I don't understand whether it's fear that's holding back, but in my mind, I'm like, why would you be scared of dying? You are gonna die anyway. You can just sleep, and then Titus, you can just realize that, oh, Titus is no longer responding. He actually died in bed yesterday. So that's the mystery of death and the excitement. And the good thing about death, the moment you die, you don't feel it. It's the people left behind that get to feel it. So I don't understand as to how is it there's not a big portion of the population that can mentally and spiritually be ready to die for what they believe in. But in my mind, one of the things is that there are things that you ought to believe in them, that you say, this is an ideal that I get to die for, especially your family, especially your kids, because this is not even about economics, but it's your fatherland, it's your homeland. You're fighting for the most fundamental right in life. You're not just fighting to say, I want an opportunity, I want this, but you're fighting for your identity. I want my identity back. I don't know what's worth dying for more than your identity. So to me, I do not understand. And we've seen, guys, we've seen terrible situation at Gaza. We've seen your Talibans fighting for their identities. And for me, economics is secondary to identity. How does a community not be willing to fight for its identity? How do men in that community not be willing to fight for their ancestral graves? To say, no, man, my identity is intertwined with these graves. I do want my children, my next offspring, such that even your children understand that this is where my father was fighting for. This is what my father was fighting for and everything. So for me, it's a combination, and I'm not saying you just go violently on it, but the community gets to be divided in a sense that we will fight this direction, you guys fight this direction, but there are some of us, I suppose, in a community whereby we're not going to talk too much, but this is what we're going to do. But without violence, and persistent violence to say we're going to continue fighting come hell or high water. And yes, some people will die in the process. But the more people die, the more others feel the need to go and join the struggle and continue the fight towards the struggle. So for me, like ruling out the part about violence, I do not believe that then you get to achieve the outcome. In Xhosa, we say, "Kote boomed." Somebody's got to die for things to change. So, yeah, no, that's my submission to say you cannot rule out the violence part of it. There's gotta be a point, and we've seen it in the world, that violence does deliver results. Thanks, Chair.
Right. Violence does deliver the results. Okay, thank you for your submission, my brother. Appreciate that. Let's move on with the conversation. So, guys, I think we are having a talk about, obviously Cap 3 has been signed into law, and I think we're just trying to get your reaction into it. Yeah, I think it would be very important to say, oh, this is what the ZANU-PF, the government has done. They've signed Cap 3 into law, and what does this mean? Obviously, I think the two main topics that we're looking at is the extension of President Emerson Mnangagwa from 2028 to 2030. Also, the same applies to our parliamentaries. When we voted in 2023, we gave these guys a 5-year mandate to say they will be in the office until 2028. This is what the people of Zimbabwe voted and decided for. But obviously, Cap 3, what it has literally come to do is to change that and to say, no, it's not going to be 5 years. We as the parliamentaries, we are going to extend ourselves and give ourselves an extra 2 years. Not only that, we are going to stop you, people of Zimbabweans, to vote for the president of a choice, because we are going to take that power as the parliamentaries. If the people have been consulted, have the people said yes to that? Obviously, no. So this is where there's a bit of there's a massive contentious issue to say, what is Cap 3 actually going to do to the Zimbabwean people? Are Zimbabwe's people going to sit back and just fold their hands and see Kuti, you know what, these guys, the parliamentaries, some which, if you all know, the recalling of a lot of parliament MPs, there was a lot of, Chabango came into the map, he recalled a lot of people that we selected as people, but they were taken off. And we even know, for example, I can even give Nyayeku Mavuko, which is a very tragic issue, where we lost Bishop Masaya. He was actually killed in a by-election. And we had Scott Sakukwanya coming in to be the MP of Mavuko with no election of people, with no people's mandate. So these are the things that we are actually talking about, where lives have been lost, where votes have not been done. But those same MPs are the ones that are going to elect the president. And that power has been taken off from you, the citizens. So how is this going to impact us as a country? How is this going to affect us as a people? So is this something else that we are just going to be commenting on the side? There was a harsh comment that I was trying to read in the comment section. I want to believe this person might be from South Africa, but I'm not so sure. But basically, I think he was talking about how Zimbabweans will have to analyze situations, will have to analyze each other, and analyze each other. But what is the end goal? What is the action? What is it that we are going to do? Anyway, let me read it as it is. So here to listen to Zimbabweans do what they are famous for: analyzing again, and then analyze each other analysis. If this is what one can get out of education, then they got you where they wanted you. I will never see people so useless in action. How about death for purpose? I think what this person is trying to say. Yeah, it's probably something to do with the action or with something that we have spoken about. So, guys, I think this, at the end of the day, this is up to you, Zimbabweans, to say this is what has been decided for you. This is what is happening. This is the reality. What is it that we as Zimbabweans are going to do? But really appreciate everyone coming in to contribute. Can I give the mic to Bossman El Chapo? Bossman El Chapo muripo erapo. Okay, if Bossman is not there, can I try Shumbela?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Masarasi, Kwese Kwachiri. Mine is more like a question. Sorry, there's something that jammed me that I wanted to make a follow up on, but I couldn't get it. Judgment, yeah, Constitutional Court, yeah, Zulu and the war veterans and and Majuku. There is a summary judgment. I didn't get it. Sorry, do we have anyone any idea on what was the summary when the Constitutional Court delivered judgment? As in, what was the summary per judgment? Yeah, Chona. Sorry, I didn't get that. Is there anyone who is enlightened about it?
Right. So I guess you're talking of the challenge that the war veterans put through Majugo. Is that the one you are asking about?
No, no. The per judgment, and this, they were they were told which there's a one judgment that came which it's not yet ripe for that
Yeah.
much. They go that was it, number one.
That they need
Yes,
to go back to high courts and stuff.
yes, to higher court. And then there's a second one.
The ripeness one was in the Dubeko case, and then the war
Yes,
veterans
yes, yes.
one was the jurisdiction.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they were
yes.
told to
So
go. They were told to go to a lower court, so which is the high court, and then argue
correct.
their case from there, and then climb their way all the way to the constitutional court if there's a need,
Correct.
to do that.
Correct. But when they settle for that finding, they first summarize what brings them to summarize that. I don't know, maybe summary of the judgment. Could you explain why are they doing that? They would pick my points of which why list your issue is valid, or but however warashwakuya nayo or wauya nayo to the wrong audience, but issue yako in a 1 2 3 that no partner that summary. Could is there someone who is enlightened about it? Could you summarize and say?
I'm not sure if the judgment was. I'm not sure if the judgment was handed down. I mean, if it was made, public, not handed down, but made, public. But I want to believe that, from what I know, is the decline to hear the case on the decline to hear the merits of the case, because they were of the opinion that a lower court should first deal with the issues that were being raised on the basis that the alleged infringement of the duty of the president to uphold the constitution fell short from specific details that were necessary for the constitutional court to deal with directly. So they were of the opinion that what they were asking for and what they were saying, the constitutional court must, intervene. There wasn't anything that was specific that spoke to a constitutional matter in the conduct of the president. Because to them, it was more or less like an administrative matter. And the constitutional court does not deal with administrative matter. A constitutional court interprets the law. It doesn't deal with things to do with administration of procedures or of processes. So this is why, they were saying you need to go to a lower court, because a lower court, such as a high court, they're the ones who are in a position to be dealing with administrative, issues. Saka, that was what was, put out there. In terms of the summary of the judgment, in terms of the written judgment, I'm not sure if it is available yet on anyway, online, in terms of the judges, putting pen to paper to say this is what we are. But in a nutshell, that is what they decided to say, Guti, this matter is in the wrong. It's in a wrong court, because there's nothing specific that speaks to a constitutional infringement. So you need to go to another court, and that court can be in a position to be dealing with this matter. But if it happens that there are then appeals that can be made, then the matter can find its way to the Constitutional Court. So that is the thing.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother. No, I understand next day in the
Right. We can move on. Zangwe was 2211. Nabodi. Nabodi zotokona kusvika aiwa amayanga kusvikening na 11.
Muda kusvika na 11.
Aiwa na 11.
Okay.
Na 11. Ndrambo after this ndambo na gym sakanga kusvike na 11.
Kwaipa nyama swishu. Sama body loading ena nyama swishu.
Yakaload yakanonoka, but tongo kuita savage 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think you are joining me because I've been on it for a while now.
Yeah, so na most one.
Okay. It's 24 hours.
24 hours there.
Good. Yeah. Okay, and late kunenge kwanyaso nevanhu vari serious.
Yeah, kunenge kwana vanhu vari boy kunenge kusina mayobs aringasiwo.
Absolutely.
Wafana mabhasikoro kunenge kusina.
Nevasikana vepa-IG vanenge vaenda vapedza.
Vanenge vabaya.
Yeah, right. So in terms of people who are in Ngirigini, obviously if respond to Shumbela, I think Kurish hasn't spoken, so maybe we can go to Kurish for now.
Right. Yes.
Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more surprised by you guys, by the reaction of Zimbabweans, because it's not like we didn't know that eventually this bill was going to be signed, or whatever law, whatever that is. We knew it was going to be signed after it was passed in Parliament. And it's odd that people act like they were not expecting it to happen. Unless they are saying, well, they were not expecting it to happen now, then I'll agree. But to say, to act shocked, it's something that I don't understand where it comes from, because we knew it was coming. And at some point, it's tiring to have one to talk and talk, because this becomes more of a talk show than charting a way forward in finding solutions to these issues. One thing that I can tell you is that ZANU-PF, wherever they are, they sleep peacefully, because they know no Zimbabweans will come into the space and talk about diaspora and need to mobilize and this and that. And it will end up after the space ended, and there's nothing material that's going to happen. There's no system to hold those people in accountable. It's non-existent. Doesn't exist. Even if you want to oppose, you have no opposition that is strong, because ZANU-PF infiltrated all the opposition. Every time that the party tries to come up, it gets squashed. So it will be more interesting to see what will happen going forward for Zimbabweans, if ever something will happen. Because here on Twitter, we can talk and be brave all we want, but the actual work should be done on the ground in Zimbabwe. And I don't think it's going to happen. We need to be honest. It's when it started, that's when it should have been stopped on its track. And it failed because there was never actually anything sustainable or anything tangible that would have forced them to rethink. Nothing happened. Opposition members went to parliament. Some they locked it, they made sure they don't even be in the house at the time to vote. They gave an excuses that they were answering phones and they left, and doors were closed and people voted. Some were not even present in this landmark decision making. They're not there. So if things failed to happen at the time when it was suggested, why do we think now when it's amended and it's into law, something can happen? I think we are just lying to ourselves, and we are just giving ourselves hope on to just be seen doing something that is futile. So, and I'm not saying people shouldn't do anything, but I think it's too late now. And from the experience that I've been around Zimbabweans for the past 10, 15 years, they will talk to you and you'll feel like they're going to do something, and later on nothing materializes. So ZANU-PF is at peace because it knows nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing. So we can talk here until morning, until any time, but as long as people don't take initiative to fight the bull in its own crawl, nothing will happen. Because people have fear. Right now, people talk, but it's the matter of who's going to start. And if someone starts, let's wait and see. And if they kill that person, say, yeah, you see why we are not active, because we don't want to be killed. There is no oppression in Zimbabwe from colonizer. The oppression that is in Zimbabwe is from someone who looks like us. And we are doing nothing about it. Why? Because we are scared to go to jail without trial. We are scared to be shot at by the police who are carrying batons and a very outdated gun. We are scared because if we were not scared, we would be taking them on. You see, and this is some of the things that some of us from the other side of Limpopo River, when we look at them, we start asking ourselves, but why are you so brave when you cross into our side and you want to tell us how we must deal with our issues? But on your other side, when you have to deal with issues, you worry about many other things. And I just don't want that to be a topic for now. I'm just giving a comparison to say we see bravery elsewhere, but not where it matters. Zimbabweans should start asking themselves, are we brave enough where we're supposed to be brave for our own future, for our own children? Are we brave enough to make sure we secure them? Or are we brave enough elsewhere where it doesn't really matter, where we shouldn't be? Where do we use our bravery? That's why I once asked Tukuti, this thing of diaspora, do we understand what diaspora is? Or someone who economically migrates and then start calling themselves diaspora, because a diaspora is like a missionary. You go there to achieve something that you can achieve when you are home. But people go to UK, to USA, to Canada to work and feed their children and then call themselves that you are in diaspora. It doesn't make sense to me. It's more, you're making mockery of the concept that was meant to help solve situations. Because 90% of those who say, hey, we are in the diaspora, they don't do anything back for Zimbabwe unless sending money home to build their own parents' houses or their own houses. For the nation, there's no benefit to the nation from those people who call themselves in the